Triple H and the WWE make a huge announcement. There might be even another one tonight, but we got some more stuff to discuss, some debuts and some possible new signings. Don't forget, we're giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers, so if you want a chance to win, you should probably click subscribe today. Welcome to the Ango Show. Holy shit! January 2024 has been absolutely loaded with news, and today is no different. Dolph Ziggler has debuted in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Obviously, he's not going by Dolph Ziggler anymore because that's a WWE name, but he is going by his real name, Nick Nemeth. And he showed up last night or this morning, depending on how you are with the time zones. But he showed up, and the cool thing is, man, Dolph Ziggler is in New Japan. You know, a lot of people expected him to go to AEW, but no. Dolph Ziggler went to New Japan first. But here's the thing, he could actually go to AEW because of the working relationship, and the massive storyline that they're running with for Dolph Ziggler immediately is the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship division. That's because David Finlay and Nick Nemeth got in a little scrap while Nick Nemeth and his brother, Ryan Nemeth, were sitting ringside. David Finlay and Dolph Ziggler getting in a little bit of a scrap, and then after, with the press conference, Dolph Ziggler, he says he wants the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Now, this is good for a variety of reasons. One, Dolph Ziggler could have just immediately signed with AEW and that would have been whatever. He could have immediately gone to TNA and that would have been cool. But at the same time, Dolph Ziggler going to Japan allows us to see a little bit more of fresh matchups. And you can't rule out TNA or AEW, especially considering that he is going for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Well, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. With him going for this belt, it's going to be their belt that they take on the road. It's the traveling belt for New Japan. And obviously, New Japan has these working relationships where it does make a lot of sense for the champion to go to AEW or go to TNA or whatever it may be. So what will this lead to? I think there is a lot that this can lead to, but I would say don't be shocked if Dolph Ziggler ends up winning this belt at some point and goes traveling with the belt. I would fully expect in the year of 2024 that Dolph Ziggler does work TNA and work AEW. I fully expect him to work both companies at some point, and this is because New Japan, TNA, AEW, all of these companies play nice with one another. New Japan works very well with TNA. I mean, for crying out loud, TNA is bringing in Okada. So very good stuff here. I'm excited about it. I think this just makes it a little bit more exciting. The free agent frenzy is truly here. You never know who's going to show up. Even Tonga says he's leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. So keep that in mind. If Tonga is leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling, he could go to AEW. He could go to WWE. WWE have wanted him for a long time. He could go to TNA. This is exciting. You literally don't know where people are going to show up at this point because there's so many free agents. And I don't know if I expected 2024 to start this hot, but it is. Speaking of big debuts and big announcements, TNA has announced Alexander Hammerstone is coming to TNA Hard to Kill, going one-on-one with Josh Alexander. Now, if you watch MLW and if you watch TNA and if you watch all of these smaller companies, maybe you're not just somebody who only watches WWE, then you might know who Alex Hammerstone is. And this guy is a freak of an athlete. He's a very, very talented individual. That's why there's been a lot of talk about AEW or WWE reportedly trying to sign him. But it looks like he is stopping at TNA first. He had issued a open challenge. That open challenge was met by Josh Alexander, and now it looks like TNA has made it official. Well, it is official because they've announced it. And for me, this is one of those things that excite me, right? TNA does need great signings. And one of the things I've been saying is TNA doesn't always need to sign the biggest names, but they need to sign great talent and people that are recognizable. And Hammerstone obviously did a lot of great things in MLW, and now it looks like him going to TNA could be a long-term thing. And there's obviously been no details yet from TNA as to whether or not they've signed Hammerstone or what the plan is. But I will tell you guys right off the rip, I was starting to wonder what the hell is happening with Josh Alexander in TNA for Hard to Kill. We know he's going up against Will Ospreay, which that's happening for the TV tapings, and that's phenomenal because they've already had the match before, and these guys are just hell of athletes. These guys are so good together in the ring. But Josh Alexander is one of the biggest TNA stars. Why doesn't he have a big marquee match? at Hard to Kill. And this is what I expect from TNA. They don't need to bring in CM Punk or Will Ospreay as much as I would like them to. They don't always need to do that. Sometimes they can still put up good, refreshing matchups without having to bring in the biggest name. And I don't know how anybody could be against this, personally speaking. This is going to be fun. This is going to be one of those matches where I genuinely think fans will be happy. And personally, like, look, because they haven't announced anything, this could be a really good time for TNA to do a contract angle right after the match with Josh Alexander. Like, Hammerstone could sign the contract right then and there, or they can announce it ahead of time. But this, to me, is just one of those things, man. I love to see it. I think TNA is on a roll. I think Hard to Kill is going to be very enjoyable. And we still don't know who the biggest signing is, which, you know, TNA opened up more seats to sell, which is always a good sign that they got even bigger plans and they're selling tickets. So we look forward to this. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video, guys. WWE Triple H makes a huge announcement. Triple H has announced on Twitter this summer, for the first time ever, Money in the Bank heads to Toronto and headlines a massive weekend at Scotiabank Arena. July 5th, 2024, SmackDown will be live in Toronto. July 6th, Money in the Bank will be hitting Toronto live. And July 7th, NXT Heatwave is a pay-per-view. And this is a great announcement. But is this the announcement? Is this the announcement that Triple H will be announcing live on Peacock? From my understanding, this was the announcement. According to Sean Ross Sapp, he was told by WWE this was the announcement that they were making live on Peacock. Now, I originally predicted it would be WrestleMania 41 location. That's not necessarily the case. It was this PLE announcement. Now, from my understanding as well, there could be another announcement on the way, but WWE has yet to announce it and may not announce it right away. I don't know. It's a very interesting time as a fan of pro wrestling to see what's going down in WWE and AEW. In regards to Money in the Bank in Toronto, first of all, the Canada crowd is going to be incredible. We know this. NXT is doing very well in Canada as well, which is fantastic because that tells me that there is some popularity there, and I think that's going to be great. But also, I feel like this is just a win for pro wrestling. WWE has done a really good job of making these pay-per-views sound big. Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, you know, like, these aren't big 4 pay-per-views, but now it's like, it's not just Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, and WrestleMania and SummerSlam. It's like these other pay-per-views are starting to feel like a big deal. Shout out to Nick Khan and Triple H because they're making the vision come to life. But this wasn't that major of an announcement for a live episode of Peacock. Just saying. I'll leave it at that.